Hi, Tom Reich here for Make Business Smarter, and today, boy, do we have some fun for you. Lost cartoons that were made after the day that the Fleischer Studios unfortunately went bankrupt, and when they did, Dave Fleischer went off to Famous Studios and formed Famous Studios with Paramount and finished the Superman series and did Little Lulu and Popeye and all those cartoons that you love, and we'll show those in another program. But Max went with a company called Jam Handy. And Jam Handy did advertisements for big corporations. Well, they brought Max in because they had this idea to do high-end animations that would show before movies in theaters, but actually sell a product. Well, we've got 5 of those lost cartoons. I've totally restored the color, totally restored the audio, and I think you're gonna enjoy them, guys. We'll see you back here in a minute for the first one. Actually, the first 3 cartoons were made for GM, and specifically the Chevrolet Corporation, in 1940 and 1941. There were actually 4 of them, because one was split into 2 because it was so long. The Cinderella story was a coach for Cinderella and then a ride for Cinderella. It was originally released as a 22-minute epic cartoon, but that didn't go over so well with the theaters, so they cut it in half. No one alive today would know that because you would have had to be a kid in 1941. The next 2 are from this crazy little character that Max came up with, and you'll notice a lot of similarities to both Disney with the Silly Symphonies and Max Fleischer's masterpiece Gulliver's Travels, mainly because he brought with him some of the artists from his studio and some of the artists that had left Disney Studios when the war started and demand for animation went way down. Then we go into a John Sutherland cartoon, and we'll tell you about that after you watch these Max Fleischer cartoons.
Now, here's a theme that never grows cold, always dear to young and old, the sweetest story ever told, a coach for Cinderella.
countryside lay deep in snow, and the angry wind would howl and blow, and the food in our pantry was running low. Who helped us then? Who eased our woe?
Cinderella, we should know.
Now listen, men. She needs us now. The prince has asked her to his ball. But she can't make her courtly bow because she has no coach at all.
No coach at all?
No coach at all. To make her happiness complete, we'll make a gown of silvery strand with crystal slippers for her feet and the finest coach in all the land. Are you with me, men?
Yes!
No! Yes! Be off, my men!
I suppose you've heard about that huzzy Mrs. Webb spider.
No, but I'm listening.
Well, far be it from me to gossip, but it seems that only last night, Mr. Webb spider... No, yes.
What's the matter? Lazy? Get to work. Who's the next?
La donna è mobile.
Stop, Tony, you're tickling.
One big blow and the seeds fly in to test the air that lies within a coach for Cinderella.
Heads up down there.
How many? The bluebirds fly in circles wide, weaving their way from side to side, forming the drapes that help provide the gown for Cinderella.
Okay.
Now we present in full array the coach for Cinderella, the coach for Cinderella.
At me. I beg your pardon? Well, we shall see. Here he comes now. Cinderella must be home by midnight, or she'll lose her gown, her slippers, her coach, everything.
If we could only stop the hussy.
I've got it. The old witch in the forest.
That's it. The witch.
On with the dance.
I'll stop that coach. In this rustic cauldron I brew lots of woe. I'm known for my witchcraft wherever I go. At such times as this, my minions take flight to torment the traveler who rides in the night. I'm always in an ugly mood. I love to poison people's food. I'm bad, as you may well conclude. I even hate myself.
But we spread happiness each day as we go on our merry way. We help to make this life more gay. We love everything, except that.
Say, Mamie, who's taking you to the Hass and Pfeffer Hop? What? That cheap lettuce lizard? Buck's taking me. And can that bunny strut? Woo woo, kid, he's the carrots. Hold the line, dearie. Wait till I get rid of this pest. What's eating you, buddy? Where's the fire?
Woodland Messenger Service?
destruction and ultimate doom. There, my pretty one. You won't fail me.
saying last night, Cinderella, will you marry me?
I'm sorry, Your Highness. I can't. I have no dowry.
But what more dowry could I wish for than you, my love? And the coach.
you people, you better beware. Love's an epidemic and it's in the air. It's a thing to get you even though you're very smart. So take some good advice, go out and vaccinate your heart. The love bug will bite you if you don't watch out. If he ever bites you, then you sing and shout. You'll go. That's what love is all about. The love bug will bite you if you don't watch out. If he ever bites you, then you sing and shout. You'll go. That's what love is all about. The love bug will bite you if you don't watch out. If he ever bites you, then you sing and shout. You'll go Haiti, 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 and the Hody, Hody, Ho. That's what love is all about.
Somebody tell me these things.
The king is in a rage, the king is in a rage, the king is in a rage. Music!
If only I had a real horse.
Hiya, big boy. Do you want to come over and play?
Do I? Boy, oh boy, oh boy, I'll say I do. She loves me not. She loves me.
It's the Black Knight. He stole the princess.
Listen, Mr. and Mrs. Knight and all the little knighties. Here's a special bulletin. Flash. The Black Knight has just kidnapped the princess. We hope His Majesty, the fathead...
Who's a fathead?
You are. Will stop eating long enough to rescue our little princess. And now we take you to the Tower of the Black Knight. Take it away.
Yes, sir. Here we are, folks, at the scene of the impending battle. What a glorious day for a fight. If only that king of ours would get mad enough to leave his dining table. And while Louis is trying to make up his mind, what there is of it, we have a special treat for you. The next voice you will hear is that of the captive princess. Take it away, princess.
Help! Help! Save me, Daddy! Help!
Steal my daughter, eh? My armor, knave! My armor!
Kitty. Boy, oh boy, looks like the end for Louis. And me too.
Oh, if only we could penetrate that wall. But that would require the power of many horses, protected by a moving fortress capable of great speed. Oh, woe is me.
Hey, Louis.
Huh?
Give up, Blackie. Let him have it. On the field of combat, I shall grant you one wish.
One wish, sire? Double on nothing, your majesty.
The mountain will bite you if you don't watch out. If he ever bites you, you'll go sing and shout. Bumble, 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 bum. That's what love is all about. Listen, all you people, you better beware, 'cause that's what love is all about.
I'm a deep water sailor, just come from Hong Kong to me way. I blow the man down. If you give me some silver, I'll sing you a song. Oh, give me some time to blow the man down. Behind the 8 ball, I first take my time to be way. I blow the man down.
Behind the 8 ball, he has wasted his prime. Oh, give him some time to blow the man down.
Wise guy, huh?
Tinkers and tailors and soldiers and all, me way, way, blow the man down.
That's one for good sailors behind the 8 ball. Oh, give him some time to blow the man down.
15 hairs and a dead man's chest.
Many brave hearts lie asleep in the haze of the night. Be
Calling all pirates, calling all pirates. Calling all pirates. Ship off board, fire. Calling all pirates.
Come on, baby, kids, get dressed. We're going to have company.
I ain't gonna do it.
You will? And you like it.
All right, I will. But I won't like it.
Or the decoy. Shut up, you brat. Help a poor mother and a little child. Pipe down. To the rescue.
They fell for it. All right. Ball strike one.
Now I can buy me a purple shirt with pearl buttons. bankrupt. Getting so you can't trust anyone these days.
This John Sutherland cartoon, it's a very science fiction-y, science-y, educational type cartoon, but I thought I'd throw it in here, called A is for Atom. And you see this whole thing about atomic energy and the good things it can do, because this was done right after the atomic bomb was dropped. This was about 1947, 1948. But what it was really about, and who it was really for, was General Electric, because General Electric put out this wonderful cartoon for theaters. So at the end of it, you'd see the Atomic Man, all the things that atomic energy can do, and not be upset when the U.S. government started giving lots of money to GE to research nuclear power plants. So enjoy this old classic that you probably haven't seen, at least not in its restored condition.
Age was born. There is no denying that since that moment the shadow of the atom bomb has been across all our lives. All men of goodwill earnestly hope that a realistic control of atomic weapons can and will be achieved. Meanwhile, good sense requires that all of us prepare for any eventuality. But wisdom demands, too, that we take time to understand this force. Because here, in fact, is the answer to a dream as old as man himself. A giant of limitless power at man's command. And where was it science found that giant? In the atom, a particle so infinitely small that it takes over 100 billion atoms to make up the head of a pin. Just as other millions and quadrillions of atoms are the tiny building blocks which make up everything in the world. Ships, and shoes, and sealing wax, and cabbages and kings. Although no one has ever seen an atom, scientists have learned a great deal about how they behave, and there are widely accepted theories as to what they're like. Let's start by meeting a leading authority on the subject, Dr. Atom. Now, observing the professor himself, we can see that his structure resembles, in many ways, something almost as vast as the atom is small. The solar system. And there are certain similarities. Here is the center with electrons in surrounding orbits. But whereas the planet's movement of electrons is slightly different, there are other differences too. Hey, hold it! Thank you. Now, the solar system together is electrical. The electrons, which are negative, are attracted by the protons, which are positive, and vice versa. But here in the nucleus are other particles with no electrical charge, called neutrons. Very important characters, too, as we shall see. And equally important when it comes to atomic energy is what scientists call the atom's binding force. It's a kind of cosmic glue holding the nucleus together. This, then, is a single atom, but certainly not all atoms are alike. There are, in nature, more than 90 basic elements, which is science's term for families of atoms. To scientists, the atoms of the individual atom families, or elements, are identified by number. That is, the number of protons, or positive charges, in their nucleus. And they vary all the way from hydrogen, which has just 1 proton, to oxygen with 8 protons, to gold, he's rich with 79, finally on to the heaviest of all natural elements, uranium with 92 protons. Now, within each element, or family of atoms, there can be different members, each one having the same number of protons, but differing in the number of neutrons. The total of an atom's protons and neutrons is its atomic weight. Thus, in natural uranium, we have U-234, U-235, and U-238. These different members of the same element or atom family, science calls isotopes. Some elements, tin for instance, have a great many isotopes. Others, like aluminum, are lone wolves with just 1. Now, most atoms of most elements are content with their lot in life. We speak of them as being stable, but others are busy day and night, being what science calls radioactive. Like radium, throwing off powerful rays along with some of its neutrons and protons, until it actually alters its own nuclear structure and changes to another family, and then to another, until it does become stable at last. This spontaneous changing of elements is called natural transmutation. Its discovery gave men of science an idea. If an atom could change itself, why couldn't man change an atom? Using as bullets the very particles which radium threw off, a noted British scientist bombarded nitrogen and converted it to oxygen. In terms of individual atoms, this is what happened. The radium nucleus threw off an alpha particle consisting of 2 protons and 2 neutrons. One of the protons was absorbed into the nitrogen nucleus, turning it to oxygen. This was artificial transmutation, man changing the elements. From that first experiment, others by the thousands followed as scientists devised ever more powerful particle accelerators, commonly called atom smashers, to transmute more and more kinds of atoms. All scientifically important, but hardly world-shaking. Then, in 1939, some scientists were experimenting with transmutation of uranium. What would happen, they wondered, if they fired a neutron at a uranium nucleus, already the heaviest in nature? Why not try? So they tried. And the result? Nuclear fission. Instead of a minor change, the atom split in 2. Truly a discovery to change the world. For what had happened when the uranium atom split was a kind of double miracle of science. Half of the miracle concerned that binding force we spoke of before, that kind of cosmic glue which holds the atom's nucleus together. We still don't know all about that binding force yet, but we do know it is equivalent to mass. Therefore, we may speak of it as having a kind of weight of its own. Now, the 2 atoms into which a uranium atom splits also have binding force. But for some reason, it takes less of that glue to hold them together, and in the process of fission, a tiny fraction is left over. What happens to it? It explodes as energy, proving Einstein's theory that mass and energy are really the same. But we spoke of a double miracle. To understand the second one, let's slow down that fission 1 million or so times. a single particle starts the reaction, splitting the uranium atom. Here now is the release of energy as heat and blast. Here are powerful rays being given off, similar to X-rays. But here are free neutrons driven out with tremendous speed. And provided there is sufficient U-235 present, what science calls a critical mass, those neutrons bombard other uranium atoms, causing them to split and split still others. The result? A chain reaction. Over 1 million billion atoms exploding within 2 seconds. And the force? It would take Yankee Stadium full of dynamite to equal the energy released in the complete fission of an amount of U-235 the size of a baseball. With this discovery at the time the free world faced a war for survival, it was little wonder the first thought was a weapon. But how to obtain enough material for even a single bomb? Only a small fraction of natural uranium is the U-235 isotope, which will fission in a chain reaction. And to separate enough U-235 quickly enough seemed all but impossible. But the impossible became reality as industry, labor, science, and the military combined their efforts to build Oak Ridge, where enough U-235 was separated to build the first atomic bomb. At Hanford, Washington, another impossible project proved possible when a huge plant was built for the mass production of the artificial element plutonium. This process involves what may be called the furnace of atomic energy, the reactor pile. Here is a structure or pile of graphite blocks. In the reactor are placed rods of natural uranium containing both U-235 and U-238. As U-235 begins to fission, the graphite slows down the free neutrons, and some of them hit other U-235 atoms, keeping the chain reaction going. But others of those slowed down neutrons hit U-238 atoms. And here's what happens. Remember, we said that U-238 wouldn't support a chain reaction. However, it will capture neutrons from U-235 fission and start a process which converts the U-238 first to neptunium, then to plutonium. And plutonium will fission in chain reaction. Thus, the reactor itself is a source of atomic fuel. Besides producing plutonium, the nuclear reactor makes possible two very important peacetime uses of atomic energy. Remember that the chain reaction process in the reactor creates tremendous heat, which scientists have learned how to control. Thus, a reactor may be substituted in many industrial applications where heat is now provided by coal or petroleum. But such uses in the foreseeable future are limited. For one thing, a reactor pile must be shielded to protect the workers around it from dangerous radiation, and this shielding adds tremendous weight. However, an atomic energy power plant has already proved feasible. The future supplying of electric power to entire cities is far from impossible, while nuclear power in locomotives, submarines, ships, and even very large airplanes may all but revolutionize future transportation on land, sea, and air. But perhaps the most valuable byproduct of the nation's reactor piles is radioactive isotopes. Research has revealed that many elements not naturally radioactive became so when placed in a nuclear reactor. And these isotopes, working as tracers with such measuring devices as a Geiger counter, became invisible detectives, aiding the cause of science in many different fields. In agriculture, isotopes are now used to test such things as the effect of fertilizers on plant growth and the proper timing for their use, helping to assure bigger and better yields from tomorrow's farms. In industry, Isotopes have found literally hundreds of new uses, such as the automatic thickness control of sheet aluminum, saving hundreds of man-hours of labor and assuring accuracy never before possible. In the fields of medicine and biochemistry, isotopes are performing near miracles of diagnosis and discovery. With radioactive sodium, doctors are solving more of the seeming mysteries of heart disease and circulatory disturbances. Radioactive phosphorus has been used to locate tumors in the brain and greatly simplify operations for their removal. Iodine 131 finds one of many uses in revealing conditions of the thyroid, and there are many more. New ways of using isotopes are being discovered constantly through the tireless work of modern pioneers in such fields as chemistry, metallurgy, medicine, and biology. Truly, the superpower which man has released from within the atom's heart is not one, but many giants. One is the warrior, the destroyer. Another is the engineer, seeking to provide vast quantities of energy to run the world's machines. Another is the farmer, helping to better feed tomorrow's world. Still another is the healer, helping to diagnose and cure the sick. And the last is the research worker, working on in the fields of pure science to reveal more of the mysteries of the universe. But all are within man's power, subject to his command. On man's wisdom, on his firmness in the use of that power, depends now the future of his children and his children's children in the new world of the atomic age.
Okay, the final cartoon today was also done by Jam Handy, but it was done with the Herman Ising studio, or through them, for release to the theaters, so I left that front end on it. Jam Handy was an advertising agency. They were about making money. So if Sunsweet Prunes wanted to make it look more like a natural cartoon in the theater, that was fine with Jam Handy. But this is a Jam Handy cartoon, and it was one of the last ones that they did. This was about 1947, and it's the story of prunes. Yes, they even tell you how many you need to eat a day to be regular. Now, coming up last, and I had told you there were 5 cartoons. Well, I think we're at 6 or 7 at this point, but it's a long show. I wanted to really throw everything in that was advertising. So we have a surprise coming up for you at the end of the reel.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is John Nesbitt bringing you the Hollywood premiere of Sonny Sweet in his latest picture, Good Wrinkles. Here he is now, and listen to those fans. There are many celebrities here, but tonight all eyes are on Sonny Sweet. Maybe I can break in here and get him to say a few words. How about it, see?
Please, Sonny, sign mine first.
Here's mine.
Yes, I know what you would have said. 6 or 7 prunes a day are good for you in every way. And that's good advice. There he goes, a Hollywood star now. But me tell you the story of how this local boy made good. Sonny comes from a famous French family in California. He was born on a balmy spring day. And as any baby, at first he just lay there, drinking in the sunshine. As the months passed by, Sonny was nourished by Mother Nature with nutrient riches that poured down from the warm California sunshine and up from the rich soil in which the parent tree was rooted. By the time fall had come, Sonny was fully grown, ready to go into the world. There he goes, off to seek adventure in Hollywood. Well, Sonny was soon to find out that there was much new world of his. In the first place, he had never realized that all prunes are plums, but all plums are not prunes. For prunes, you see, are a special kind of plum that can be dried without fermenting. But Sonny qualifies, and his career as a movie star was well underway. He was soon to find out that there were many prunes from his family here at the studio, and that he would have the opportunity to work with some of them. Sonny's French prune family, sometimes called the prune d'Agen, is famous for its sweetness, flavor, and quality. Prunes of the French prune family run to the middle sizes. So when you see the words medium, large, or extra large on the package, remember these sizes refer to French prunes, which never grow so large as some other varieties, but which are never surpassed in sweetness and good eating quality. In his first picture, Sonny played the part of a French duke. In his regal costume, he fittingly represents true prune royalty, for French prunes are the most popular of all prunes.
Quiet! Action!
There are larger prunes, to be sure. Here's Pearl, one of Sonny's best friends. She is an imperial prune, and her family, which thrives in very few areas, is not sufficiently numerous to be a major factor in the prune industry. My, but she is a shy one, and rightly so, for she comes from a prune family that is shy in many ways, especially at fruit-bearing time. From Pearl, Sonny learned that there were various other varieties of prunes, but most of them are grown only in small quantities and are not important on a commercial scale. She told him that should he come upon any members of the prune family grown in the Pacific Northwest, he would find them noticeably tart, this tartness being due to a larger acid content and a slightly smaller sugar content than the French prunes grown in California. Sonny finished his role as the Duke, and the studio assigned him almost immediately to a film in which he portrayed a world's champion prize fighter. He played many important parts in the movies, just as prunes in real life play an important part in keeping us healthy. And now, with his great supply of prune energy, movie actor Sonny winds up for the knockout punch. Sonny knocks out fatigue, just as prune sugar energy overcomes fatigue in our bodies. The average sugar content of French prunes is 49.5%. Which comes from their long natural ripening in the sun. Prune sugar is in the form of readily digestible carbohydrates, chiefly invert sugar, which is readily absorbed into the blood to do the job of supplying quick energy, so needed when the going gets a bit rough and the tired body needs a pickup. Now let's see some of the requirements for that good-to-feel-good feeling. If you don't mind, I'll be scientific for a few moments. There is carotene, for instance, which is changed by the body to vitamin A. Prunes are an excellent source of carotene and therefore of this valuable vitamin, of which the minimum requirement is 5,000 international units per day. This is the vitamin that does so much to protect precious eyesight and is important for proper growth, too. Then there is riboflavin, one of the B-complex vitamins. Prunes have a higher riboflavin content than any other fruit. The average requirement of this vitamin is 1 8/10 milligrams per day. It is needed for steady nerves, a clear skin, and good digestion, as well as for proper growth. Thiamine, also known as vitamin B1, contributes to healthy nerves, a good appetite, and proper growth. The daily requirement of thiamine is 1 2/10 milligrams. Also, there is the mineral iron, so necessary for its blood regenerating powers and an essential part of every living tissue in the body. Your daily requirement of iron is 12 milligrams. This is Sonny's way of showing just how much good 6 or 7 prunes a day can do for you. They furnish a great percentage of these essential needs of man. 6 or 7 quality prunes are approximately 50 grams of edible fruit, which furnish 27% of the average daily minimum requirement of vitamin A, 38.5% of the daily requirement of riboflavin or vitamin B2, 12.5% of the daily requirement of thiamine or vitamin B1, and 16 6/10% of the average daily minimum requirement of iron to feel good. The story of Sonny's life as a movie star would never be complete without his most famous role as Dr. Sonny. It's a natural for him, for prunes can surely do much to keep us healthy and well. As every nurse and dietitian learns early in her training, prunes are highly effective as a gentle, natural aid to regularity. This is due partly to the abundance of soft fruit cellulose, food bulk in its natural and most valuable form, and partly to the presence of a specific laxative element, which has certain chemical and physiological properties similar to caffeic and chlorogenic acid.
Calling Dr. Sweet, calling Dr. Sonny Sweet. Emergency, room 208.
Hey, Doc, emergency, room 208.
Say, ah, coated tongue. Most irregular, eh? But Dr. Sonny knows the answer. The patient will be well in no time. And now he says with the rest of us, it's good to feel good. Now let's turn from Sonny's Hollywood career and get a little better acquainted with his family background. We've found that prunes are unique in more than just their downright tastiness and food value. For example, there's the way prunes are harvested. In the springtime, they begin their gradual development, and throughout the summer are richly nourished by Mother Nature. Finally, in August, they begin to ripen. However, the finest prunes are not picked like other fruit, but are allowed to hang in the sunshine until they're so plump and heavy with juicy goodness, they drop from the trees of their own weight. When nature says, You're ready. Down they go. The soil has been previously turned and worked to a cushiony mattress to catch the falling fruit. And there they lie, purple and plump, all ready to be carefully gathered by hand. Now here we are at the plant. Let's see how plums become prunes by what is known as the dehydrating process. They are first put through a hot 15-second alkaline bath to slightly crack the skins and allow for more rapid evaporation of the moisture in the fruit. Next, they are thoroughly rinsed. Then they are spread in single layers on large trays to be dried. While open field drying was the only method employed for many years, this method has now been largely replaced by modern mechanical dehydrators. And it is in these dehydrators that the prune, as we know it best, actually comes to be. These are truly good wrinkles. This is one place where wrinkles are looked upon as a sign of distinction. The next step is to sort the prunes according to size. As they pass over a series of graduated holes in the sorting conveyor, they drop through the holes they fit and are thus automatically graded. Prune sizes are designated by the number of prunes it takes to make a pound. Naturally, the fewer the prunes to the pound, the larger the individual prunes. The medium size is graded 67 or less prunes to the pound. The large size runs 53 prunes or less to the pound. Then comes the extra large size, which averages 43 prunes or less to the pound. Thus, you are reminded again, the fewer the prunes per pound, the larger the fruit. The final step before packaging is the special sun-sweet tenderized process. Using only heat and moisture, this process leaves the prunes plump and tender, which permits very rapid cooking, thus eliminating the vitamin loss which sometimes results from longer preparation. From the tenderized process, the prunes are immediately packed steaming hot into parchment paper bags, which are enclosed in protective cartons. Also, as an added protection against air, dust, light, and heat, the cartons are in turn enclosed and sealed in a lustrous gold or silver foil wrapper. This hot packing and foil sealing ensures uniform moisture, tenderness, and fine eating quality throughout the contents of the package. In addition to protecting the full rich goodness of the fruit, the foil wrapper is an easy way to always identify your favorite brand. Fresh from the carton, the prunes are ready to be served in an infinite variety of ways. Raw, for example. The special tenderized process makes prunes so tender and good you can eat them just like candy right out of the box. And raw, they provide all the qualities of the natural fruit. Or prepare them in this simple way. Just fill a jar with prunes, add boiling water to cover, screw on the lid, let cool, then place in your refrigerator for several days. The longer they stand, the thicker the juice. This American breakfast tradition is delicious when served with a little cream, or with a dash of lemon, or just sitting pretty in their own juice. For serving with meat, spiced and pickled prunes. Or prune pie, a tempting, luscious dessert with a billowy meringue that can be put together in a twinkling. Prune whip is another famous American dish, the perfect dessert for a perfect meal. Here's another wonderful treat, prune birthday cake, a tender, moist, fruity cake, just right for every day of the year and for special occasions too, such as Junior's birthday party. Our country, however, isn't the only one that knows all about the delectable uses of prunes. They are a favorite fruit in many countries. Let's see what the people of Scandinavia know about prunes. If you should find unexpected guests are on the way, and a quick sweetbread is what you'll need, just try prune biscuit roll. Prepare about 2 cups of your favorite biscuit mix by merely adding milk. Then roll the dough to a 1/4 inch thickness and spread evenly with 1½ cups of chopped and pitted cooked prunes. You then top the prunes with a 1/4 cup of melted butter, 1/2 cup of sugar spiced with cinnamon or nutmeg, and carefully roll like a jelly roll. Then place the roll in a buttered baking dish and bake in a moderate oven 45 minutes to an hour. When cool, the roll is cut into slices, and there you are. As easy as that, coffee time's complete with dainty prune biscuit rolls. Here's the dessert. The vanilla cream portion in this bowl is a blend of eggs served cold. Delicious. Another delightful dessert of theirs, which can be served cold, is prunes with meringue. The meringue is spread over the prunes, and the dessert is eaten until the top is golden brown. If you have a sweet tooth, serve it with cream or vanilla sauce, and it's a mouth-watering treat. Another favorite of theirs, prune souffle, as light and fluffy as a dream. And believe it or not, the Scandinavians even make a soup of prunes, which they serve cold. A Swedish specialty, no doubt, but try it sometime. You might like it. Scandinavian cooks use prunes a great deal with meat, especially with fatty meats like pork. One method is to stuff spare ribs with pitted prunes before baking. This adds a delicate, succulent flavor to the ribs. Another popular method of theirs is to serve boiled prunes right along with fried or baked pork chops. Yet another delicious way they combine meat with prunes is to place the prunes on slices of pork, rolling them till crisp and brown. And here is an idea of theirs that works wonders with fowl. Stuff chicken, turkey, or duck with prunes. The sweetness and richness of the prunes really enhances the flavor of the fowl. Yes, there are hundreds of ways to serve prunes. And to help in preparing these you have seen, plus countless other prune delicacies, Sunsweet has gathered together a wonderful collection of prune recipes which have been put into a handy booklet. Merely mail your request to Sunsweet, Box 670, San Jose, California, for a free copy. However you serve these prunes, you can be sure they are a delicious, full-flavored, perfect-eating fruit. Just as important, they are rich in nature's own vitamins and valuable food minerals. A quick energy food that gives children and adults alike that good-to-feel-good feeling. Serve prunes often. They are good anyway, anytime. So there in all his regal splendor sits Sonny, proud of his royal heritage, proud too of the golden carton which he sponsors, and which is your guarantee of extra tenderness and extra goodness in the prunes you buy. Your sure guide to good wrinkles when you go shopping for prunes.
6 or 7 prunes a day are good for you in every way. Buy Sunsweet prunes and you'll agree, cooked or they're heavenly.
All right, our final cartoon, and it's clearly marked Jam Handy and Max Fleischer and all of the wonderful artists that worked on it. This was the standard Christmas cartoon every place in the world until the new Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer came out in the 1960s. This cartoon still shows today, but I don't think you've ever seen it in this condition. Towards the end of his life, Richard Fleischer was actually a personal friend of mine. or me. I was honored to even be in his presence. But he had an original copy of this film that hadn't been scratched up and destroyed. And this is pristine. It's the colors of that day, the sound restored to the way that it sounded exactly in the theater. And I hope you enjoy it, even though it's not Christmas. Come back, mark this video and come back to it at Christmas. But this is the original, full-length, uncut, in original condition, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer from 1947.
Hmm?
One last thing before we start the wonderful Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. How does this fit into advertising? Real simple. Montgomery Ward was the big competition to Sears back then, and there were only two big Christmas department stores that everybody went to. And Sears always had their promotions, but they never did anything like this cartoon. They actually invented this whole Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer story in order to sell their Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer plush doll that's nose lit up red. I actually have one. Maybe closer to Christmas I'll bring it out for the Christmas show and show you what it looked like. But right before Montgomery Ward went out of business 20 years ago, they had a Christmas special where they showed a new version of this cartoon that was horrible in their advertising, and again tried to sell the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer cartoon, or stuffed plush animal with the red blinking nose. That didn't work out so well and they were out of business the next year, but that didn't affect this cartoon. One of the most beautiful cartoons ever done in history, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And watch for one other thing. Max's brother Dave came back and helped him on this cartoon because he just felt really strongly about it. And you'll notice Superman elements in it. When the drawbridge comes down, you can think of that in Superman. When the sled is going through some of the city scenes, very much like when Superman's flying through the city scenes. They used every trick in the book, and this was really Max Fleischer's swan song. There's no real publicly known cartoons that he was involved with after this one. He was involved with some cartoon companies, but not directing and completely putting together a masterpiece. This was his swan song, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
You know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen.
But do you recall the most famous reindeer of all? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say,
Rudolph, with your nose so bright,
won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you'll go down in history.
'Twas the day before Christmas, and all through the hills the reindeer were playing, enjoying the spills of skating and coasting and climbing the willows and hopscotch and leapfrog, protected by pillows.
Look, fellas, it's Rudolph. His nose is a sight. It's red as a beet.
Twice as big and twice as bright. Looky, looky, I'm Rudolph.
Poor Rudolph. Where most reindeers' noses are brownish and tiny, Rudolph's was red, very large, and quite shiny.
Rudolph! Go on home, Red Nose. Your mama's calling you.
Come, come, Rudolph. Tonight you hang up your stocking.
His nose is a sight. It's red as a beet.
Twice as big and twice as bright.
While way, way up north on this dark, foggy night, awaiting the time for his Christmas Eve flight, good old Santa.
This fog will be hard to get through. Quick, get hitched in a hurry. Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen. Hi-ho! To keep our direction, we'll have to fly low. Come down here, quick! Hi-ho! Pretty close. Hi-ho!
The air was still foggy, the night dark and drear, when Santa arrived at the home of the deer. But all this took time and filled Santa with gloom, while slowly he groped toward the next reindeer's room. The lamp wasn't burning. The glow came instead from Rudolph's red nose at the head of the bed. And then came the greatest idea in all history. So Rudolph is told of the dark and delay, the fog and the blackness and losing the way.
I need you tonight to lead all my deer on the rest of our flight.
Dear Mommy and Daddy, I have gone to help Santa. Don't worry. Rudolph, that's me.
Hurry, Rudolph. It's very dark here.
With Rudolph's red nose as a wonderful light, old Santa flew quickly the rest of the night. so fast that before it was day, the very last present was given away.
Hear ye, a message from Rudolph.
Yes, they'd found Rudolph's message. It's all over town.
Hear ye, Rudolph at the stadium. Come on, come on.
The bad deer who used to do nothing but tease him, well, now they'd do anything only to please him.
Rudolph, my boy, they'll envy you now, far and near. For no greater honor can come to a deer than riding with Santa and guiding my sleigh. The #1 job on the #1 day. I hope you'll continue to keep us from grief. I hereby appoint you Commander-in-Chief.
And Rudolph just blushed from his head to his toes until his whole fur was as red as his nose.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Then all the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.